Hey guys, Dessler Magic here, and good news everyone! Mark Rosewater has officially written a post for Daily MTG. That's right, it's finally not Blake Rasmussen. I assume that means that Blake was eaten by a hungry hippo. But hey, Mark's here. Oh hi Mark. And he is going to answer all of your burning questions about life, the universe, and the reality of existence. But specifically, he tweeted out, "I'm running a mailbag column today and need your help. Please send me a question that's a single tweet that starts with who or where." Wow, what a weirdly specific while also completely wide open and just obnoxious way to make people phrase something like you're on Jeopardy or something. I've got one for you. Who the hell is letting you still work at Wizards of the Coast after designing almost every bad set and every bad mechanic in the history of the game, and where can I contact them? Ooh, I get double points because I use both. So the first question is, where or who is Ashiok? It actually fits both. So strangely enough, for the where is Ashiok, he said that's a question for next week. War of the Spark spoilers, maybe not like card spoilers, but like art details or story reveal or I don't know. So Ashiok versus Bolas maybe, although I recall Ashiok actually being a villain, I think I was told that, I don't know. And whenever somebody plays old Ashy Larian Commander, I just refer to them as Windsock Head. So for the who is Ashiok, he says, I can answer that today. The short answer is nobody knows. So in other words, you can't answer that today, although that is an answer. It's an answer that there is no answer. I told you, this is deep. We're getting deep as hell on this one. That question has never been answered in any of the stories. The longer answer is the unknown of the character is a defining quality of Ashiok. If we came out tomorrow and just said Ashiok is such and such, I believe it would lessen the character. The mysterious qualities of Ashiok allow individual players to fill in the gaps with what they believe and bond with the character. That's the problem. If you're like, oh, well, this evidence and this artwork and what, you know, is on the art, okay, this must be the background. And then you got the running assumption, and then you find out 5 years later you're wrong. So, legitimately nobody knows much about Ashiok. I'm just filling this in myself with what I know. And nobody actually knows his or her gender. I always thought her face looks feminine, so we're going she. But I mean, she could be like a construct, like a one-off, a mutant, a magical creation, or I mean, who knows. But she is a planeswalker, though. So her thing is she like reaches into your mind and then finds the thing you fear the most, as far as creatures go, and then creates it, and then that minion serves her. And her whole motivation thing is she likes to take down people who view themselves as untouchable and superior to everyone else because every living being fears something. Wouldn't that be someone to fight Bolas? Now, I don't think that she's signing up for the Gatewatch, just saying. But if Bolas uses some like magic to summon planeswalkers or trick them or whatever, lure them into the plane of Ravnica to do something with Sparks and the Immortal Sun, this is one you don't want showing up. Although I want her to show up because that would be freaking awesome. What's his biggest fear? It's probably Ugin, unless it's something more subtle. But as far as a creature, an entity goes, he almost lost the battle to Ugin, so it would probably just be giant zombie Ugin. I mean, remember, he spent all that time, I think in, what was it, M19, running after, like, Ugin because he thought maybe he wasn't really dead or his spirit lived on or he might reincarnate. He's like, no, we cannot have that because him and Azor tried to trap me. They tried to bamboozle him. They tried to pull sneaky on him. They tried the old trick and trap. Anyway, back in Mark's actual answer, he ended with, we're probably never going to find out because part of the mysterious, character spooky is not knowing her background, so they're just going to leave it like that, which is obviously cheap. Cheap, lazy writing tactics. Awesome. But why the heck are we going to find out where she is next week? Is she working for Bolas? Anyway, the next person asked, who is Jace's mother? And Mark replied with, for most of the time the character has existed, Jace didn't know who his mother was or where she was or anything about her really. His past had been wiped away, so it was as much a mystery to him as it was to us, because remember, memory charms and sphinxes and crap. I'm not that familiar. But you may recall that at the end of the Ixalan storyline, Jace got his memories back. Hey, flood of recollection. But to be really lazy with the writing, they left it at, oh, did he get all of his memories back? So maybe Jace knows who his mother is, maybe he doesn't remember. And as a reader, not knowing that is just like for our benefit, but it's really for Wizards of the Coast benefit so they can be lazy. Anyway, he says, we probably won't find out who she is unless we go back to Vryn. I don't know if it would even be back to Vryn. I haven't been playing that long, but I don't recall being there. Don't say Origins, it doesn't count. Anyway, the next one is, who among planeswalkers that haven't yet been printed do you want to see most in a future set? Wonderful question. Mark answers it with, this is going back quite a ways, but I think Leshrac would be the planeswalker he would choose, printed in a supplemental product like Commander decks, and that would be pretty cool. Leshrac, of course, is from Dota 2. Well, good luck with that one, because Leshrac was pretty much killed by Bolas and turned into a mask, or absorbed into a mask, or I don't know how the masks work. And by the way, in their absolutely insane battle, Leshrac almost killed Bolas. Almost. So that would be interesting. Next question. Who do I have to talk to about getting more commander support for Boros? To which Mark just responded, F you. Oh, I mixed that up. Nope, that's my response. They're overpowered as hell. They're one of the best decks in Standard right now. They were one of the best decks in Standard last time we were on Ravnica. I absolutely hate them. And you can take your red-white candy cane deck and shove it clear up your ass. But Mark said that depends on what kind of support you're looking for. Do you want red and white to stretch into new abilities that are thematic to their color and synergistic with the Commander format? Then that would be Council of Colors. I don't care to explain it, and I'm not even convinced that's still relevant. Oh, he explains it in the next sentence. This is the group that oversees the color pie and is responsible for exploring new mechanical places to push the colors. Hey, I've got an idea. Stop pushing things. Stop pushing overpowered cards. Just print stuff that's fun and interesting and leave it at that. Stop printing Scarab God. Stop with the phoenixes. Screw the damn phoenixes. Anyway, let me just sum up what Mark is too polite to directly say. When somebody says, I have a Boros deck, it's a Boros Commander deck, I want more support for it. What do you mean? Is it literally Boros, or are you just being a pretentious douche and saying Boros, but you really just mean it's a white-red deck? I mean, remember when people said, oh, Golgari midrange, that's the best deck in the world. Look, it just won the Pro Tour. Cool, Golgari midrange, it's the best. It had one card from the Golgari Guild in it. That was called a green-black Explore deck. So people saw it and they're like, oh, Golgari must be hot. It must be the best new guild from Guilds of Ravnica. No. That was not a Golgari deck. The colors were Golgari, but the cards weren't. That's why people should stop using these idiotic, stupid, pretentious, stuck-up douche nicknames. Every single time somebody at F&M says, I'm running Esper deck, I'm running a Jeskai deck, I'm running a Sultai deck, somebody else says, and what colors are those? When I say I'm running an America deck, a Candy Cane deck, a Christmas deck, 0 people ask what color those are. Seriously, can we stop with the stupid nicknames? Even Mark doesn't know what this asshole is asking. Do you want red-white? Do you want literally Boros? Do you want Boros mechanics? What are you even asking, you dick? Cut the stupid nicknames. Nobody thinks you're cool for memorizing them. You're just a pretentious ass pushing new players away. Anyway, he goes on to ask, do you want red-white to explore deck archetypes other than aggro? Then that would be the vision design and set design team. So in other words, he's just deflecting and saying it's not my job. Who knows? Who cares? Boros sucks. Whatever. Shove it. The next question is, who writes the flavor text on Magic cards? I mean, come on. Even I know this. The answer is really boring. It's like a bunch of people from the creative team write submissions and then they pick some and who cares? And it's a lot of outside contractors too, once in a while. The next question is stupid, so I'm skipping it. Actually, the next one's stupid too. Who among current Wizards employees has worked there the longest? Who cares? How's that for a question that starts with who? Who gives a shit? So he's like, well, earliest hire date or like longest continuous work time, or it's like a bunch of different people. He's one of them. One of them's Charlie. One of them's Don. Who gives a crap? They are all collectively not doing their jobs properly, and the products, the paper, the set design, the standard meta has all been a disaster for like 3 years straight. So again, I say, who cares? The next question is really stupid too. The next one's interesting though. Who thought or decided getting rid of mana burn was a good idea and why? And Mark answers, that would be me. I'm the person who pushed the hardest during the Magic 2010. Really? What? Magic 2010? That's when they got rid of mana burn? I thought it was like 20 years ago. Well, you learn something new every day. Anyway, yeah, during the Magic 2010 rules change, he wanted to get rid of mana burn. Interestingly, I'm also the person who fought the hardest to keep it when we almost took it out during the classic 6th edition rules changes. Wait, that's when I thought they got rid of it. I obviously had a change of heart. No, I'd like to phrase it as you obviously don't know what the hell you're talking about or doing. So blah, blah, blah. The game is complex. Yay, complexity. Complex games are fun and hard to learn and blah, 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 blah. That's paraphrased. He didn't actually say that. But getting too complex is not approachable. It keeps new players away from the game, so they want to limit it where it's not necessary. And this one just wasn't worth having, I guess. It was just one more thing to remember, and they dumped it. Basically, you had to learn that it was a thing, but then it came up so infrequently that it was just like annoying and it seemed unnecessary to learn, and it was just one more rule. So from a practical sense, what they did was he told the play team just stop playing with that rule completely. And in about 30 days, it came up exactly 0 times. So they're just like, dump this unnecessary, stupid rule. Now, me playing the original Chandelar, it came up like every single game. But I was careless and didn't play around it. But that's the thing. If you truly forget about it, you're going to get, haha, pun very much intended, burned by it. I think honestly today, if you generate like some degenerate amount of mana, it should have the potential to accidentally kill you if you don't have an outlet for it. I think the game needs it, but their reason for getting rid of it, as he stated, is completely valid. They 100% have a point there. The next question, I don't even understand it, so I'm skipping it. Next up, who was the most requested character or characters to have their own card that has never had one? Now that's a question to ask Mark Rosewater. That is the fantastic Mark question right there. Okay, without even reading ahead, I had one in my mind, and yes, it is the very first one that he mentioned. So up until Unstable was printed, it was Urza. I mean, is anybody surprised? And even now, he said they get requests for a black-bordered Urza, which means he'd have to come back to the storyline. That's how that works. Unless it's like a flashback episode, you know, draft set, side product, commander deck, whatever. Or a core set. I mean, those things have been known to time travel story-wise, too. They're the flashback episodes of the Magic world. But there's much more than Urza. There's, oh my god, Asmoranormadica Distentaculador. Okay, I'm not dyslexic. That's just like a 40-letter word. Anyway, he or she, not really sure of the gender on that particular name, is the author of the Underworld Cookbook from Dominaria lore. So will we see me. Will we see Asmore for short in an upcoming set? Who knows? People are requesting it, probably just because it's a meme. And because it would be hilarious to try to translate that to like 13 other languages. Next up, Curse Guy from Commander 2017 edition. I feel like I should know who that is, and somehow I don't, but it sounds familiar. Then, of course, no surprise here, we've got, I don't know how to pronounce it, but FBLTHP, which is one of the homunculi from Ravnica. He's got the card Totally Lost, and people just love that artwork. It's so good. He also had a little bit of a thing going on in the storyline, too. I'm calling it right now. He's in the next set, and he kills Bolas. Next up, Feather from Ravnica. I have no idea who or what that is. Next, Gix from the original Phyrexia. Duh. Well, Gix is in the hole. He might be dead. He might not be thing. So, in other words, they could bring him back anytime they want. So, effectively, he's not dead. And you know, with Karn dedicated to blowing up the Phyrexians after the Bolas situation, we're going to head back there probably within a year and a half, 2 years would be my guess. Well, I said there, just we're going to deal with the Phyrexians wherever they are, wherever they go, on their home plane, wherever they're invading, whatever. We're going to go blow Gix up, basically. Next up, Hal and Elena from Innistrad. I don't know who they are. Next, Kallist Roka from Ravnica. No idea who that is. Massacre Girl from Ravnica. Don't know who that is. I was on such a roll, too. Pashalik Mons from Dominaria. Don't know who that is. Sarah from Dominaria. Well, she's on a card now. Shadowblade from Kaladesh. I mean, that just happened and I don't know who that is. I never read that storyline. Unnamed White Black Angel Sister from Innistrad. I mean, you got me. And Yawgmoth. I mean, he's in a couple cards. That's another one like Gix and Sarah where I actually had to check. I'm like, really? Like, there's no actual card with them on it. Yeah, I guess. Oh, get this. So since he named so many on the list, he finalizes the answer with a number of these characters, by the way, are currently in files in upcoming products. Oh, that's a spicy little morsel there, Mr. Rosewater. The next question was, who was the first Planeswalker, both lore-wise and card-wise? Well, look it up, you lazy ass. I mean, I think he's getting at who was the first Pokemon? Like the first one drawn, the first one chronologically, the first one that spawned all the rest. You know, where it becomes like a philosophical, what did you mean by the question, like Buddhist monk riddle or whatever. So, he says the first Planeswalker chronologically in real time was Urza. He's mentioned by name on 2 cards in limited edition and alpha as Glasses of Urza and Sunglasses of Urza. So he means chronologically in our timeline, not in the storyline timeline. So he's one of the main characters in the first Magic story, the Brothers' War, first told through the Cards of Antiquities, Magic's second expansion. So, I mean, even I knew that. Now, as far as the first Planeswalker in world, so in the timeline of, like, the multiverse or whatever, he is not 100% sure. Now, we all know, and Mark does reiterate this, Bolas has boasted that he's the first Planeswalker, but we already know Ugin, his twin, became a Planeswalker before he did, like by, I think, 200 years, 300 years. So Mark says his best guess is that it is Ugin, because remember, they both had an unbelievable amount of time to level up and gain XP and do quests and learn magic. Well, that's mostly what Ugin did. Bolas obviously learned some magic and some tricks, and apparently Sailing 101. Remember, he like matrixed it into Vraska's head. Anyway, that was so long ago, like ridiculously long ago in the storyline. So his best educated guess is that it was Ugin. I beg to differ. It all comes down to whether or not you would consider the Dragon to be a Planeswalker, and it would be more of a technicality because he or she, probably she, has never been known to actually planeswalk or have a spark or be a living being, I guess. It's more of like a fabric of the multiverse force of nature thing. But yeah, the Dragon did exist at the beginning of time, so that would win it. But it's more of, like I said, oh, I exist everywhere and between every plane at once, and my wings extend across every plane and touch all of them. And then when she flaps her wings, it gives birth to dragons on different planes, but she doesn't have to actually go there. But then again, like, she is described as a giant, like, dark shadow in the sky, which would imply that she's small enough to have a physical presence, unless it's like a fourth dimensional object rendering itself in three-dimensional space where it's still bigger than that, but all you can see is the three-dimensional representation because that's what it's acting on currently. Oh, that's right. We're going to solve this one with theoretical physics. So anyway, I don't think that would count, and it's not like the Dragon gave the Planeswalker spark ability to all sentient beings, something. But I think something that, unless it's just like, oh, everything with a soul can be a Planeswalker just as a fluke, it's a thing that happens. Or if it's like purposely designed by some multiversal deity being thing. I don't know, but I do know that if we ever find out and something goes that deep into the lore, it'll probably explain who the first Planeswalker was as like an experiment, or who the first person to have the spark awoken was. But it does seem pretty reasonable to say it would be Ugin. So that's lore and timeline stuff, which is always my favorite, even though I suck at the lore. The third potential answer to this is, well, he says the first Planeswalker card-wise is a 5-way tie. Lorwyn introduced the Planeswalker card type in it, and the game has gone down the toilet ever since. Oh wait, I added that. Well, it had rare Planeswalkers, remember, because Mythic Rare wasn't a thing yet, and it was monocolored. It was Ajani, Jace, Liliana, Chandra, and Garruk, believe it or not. Oh yeah, Garruk for President of the Gatewatch 2020. He's got my vote. Oh, and fun little tidbit for you here. The original plan was to introduce 3 of them as future-shifted cards in Future Sight. You know, because the card frame and mechanics weren't screwed up enough already. But he does say that it would have been Jace, Liliana, and Garruk. Those would have been the first 3 had they done that. But Future Shifted was enough of an absolute dumpster fire that they decided against it. At least that's my take on it. So that's it for Mark Rosewater answering your burning questions about life, the universe, and a bunch of Magic the Gathering stuff. I always find these, like Mark responds and answers your questions and peek behind the scenes stuff actually legitimately interesting, although clearly his take on the game, the meta, his performance at Wizards, pretty much everything you could possibly imagine, his take on it is so comically skewed, it's just cringy and burns my head just to read it. Oh, and FYI, this mailbag series where people are asking why and how and who and when and where and blah, 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 whatever, has apparently been going on for 10 years, so this is the conclusion of his 10-year series. Holy crap. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my wonderful, super positive commentary because the game is in such a great state. The staff are so friendly and nice to the customer base, and they run the game in such a fair way. There really clearly is just no place in Magic for any kind of criticism or negativity. And I'm glad so many of you in my comment section see that. So anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you like this type of content. If you don't, then I hate you. Piss off to a different channel. I'll see you guys next video.